Welcome back to the Alpha Insider Show. I am Aaron. Today, we will explore a hot topic. Not hot because it is trending, but hot because it never ceases to be of interest. Emotional intelligence. What is it? How to use it? Even better, how to boost it. Albert and Isabel will dive into another one of Dr. Bach's book to uncover this power. And yes, prepare to be empowered. Albert, Isabel, the floor is yours.
Okay, so get this. Today's deep dive takes us into emotional intelligence, but not how you might expect. We've got excerpts from Dr. Bach's book, Power Emotional Intelligence. And let me tell you, this isn't your typical self-help book.
It's Dr. Bach himself that's so intriguing. Dentist, entrepreneur, world record-holding author. The guy's got range.
Right. It's like he's discovered emotional intelligence isn't just something you understand. It's like a power source you can use, which is what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah, totally. He says we've all got this natural ability to feel our way through situations, like a sixth sense almost. Think about it. The CIA uses body language analysis to get people, but Dr. Bach's saying we can all do that naturally.
It's like we're born with an emotional radar, but somewhere along the way, someone tells us to ignore it. Instead of seeing feelings as important information, we learn to dismiss them, even medicate them away.
Exactly. And that's where Dr. Bach's approach is different. He's all about practical application. He wants you to know how to use emotional intelligence day to day.
He's got this great example about active listening. Now, before you think, oh yeah, I'm a good listener, Dr. Bach takes it a step further. He talks about guiding the conversation, setting a perimeter, so you can get the information you need efficiently.
He uses that phrase, setting the perimeter, to show how important it is to have a clear goal in your conversations. Think of it like this. Before you even start talking, you need to know what you want to get out of it. What are you hoping to learn? What outcome are you looking for?
And this is where he brings in his experience as a dentist. He says, everyone lies. Don't worry, we're not saying you shouldn't trust anyone. But Dr. Bach realized that if he actively shaped conversations with his patients, he could learn valuable information, things that they might not have shared otherwise.
Right. It's about reading between the lines, picking up on little cues, and understanding that what people say doesn't always tell the whole story. Dr. Bach talks about how he'd ask a new patient, how can I help you? And then just let them talk for 5 minutes.
And during those 5 minutes, he's not just sitting there listening, he's watching their body language, how they're speaking. When they hesitate, he's gathering metadata, those unspoken clues that reveal what's really going on.
Then that leads to a fascinating point. Dr. Bach thinks that active listening, combined with empathy, can actually help you predict how someone's going to behave.
Wait, hold on. Predict. Like, I'll be able to tell what someone's going to do before they do it.
Well, not exactly like that. But Dr. Bach says that when you really understand someone's mindset, what motivates them, what they're afraid of, you can start to anticipate how they might react in certain situations. It's about seeing patterns, connecting the dots, developing a deeper understanding of people.
Okay, so we're going to see how this all fits together. So we've got active listening, we've got empathy, and then Dr. Bach throws in this curveball, influence.
And this is where it gets interesting. Dr. Bach sees influence as a natural part of emotional intelligence. He thinks that when you get people's emotions, you can guide them toward outcomes that are good for them. But, and this is really important, he's very clear that this is not manipulation.
Right. It's not about tricking people into doing what you want. Dr. Bach emphasizes honesty and vulnerability as the foundation of real influence. He says you can't build trust, which is essential for influence if you aren't genuine.
Exactly. He gives this heartwarming example of his own son, William. William was having trouble in French class, and instead of forcing him to study more or getting a tutor, Dr. Bach found a way to align William's love for writing with his need to get better at French.
Okay, I have to hear this. How do you turn a French class into a writing opportunity? Did he make William write a French dictionary or something?
Not quite. See, William had been co-writing these adorable children's books with Dr. Bach.
Co-writing? This kid is like, what, 8 years old? And he's already a published author.
See, I told you Dr. Bach was interesting. Anyway, he encouraged William to translate their books into French. And you know what? In just a few months, William's grades were way up.
That's incredible, and it shows something that Dr. Bach talks about a lot in his book. Aligning your emotions with your goals can have amazing results. But it's not always easy to figure out how to do that ourselves. How can we take this idea of aligning emotions and goals and actually use it?
That's a great question. And it leads us to one of the most important concepts in Dr. Bach's book, confidence.
So last time we left off with that amazing story about Dr. Back's son, William, and how he got so good at French by translating children's books. It really showed how powerful it can be to use things you're already passionate about to reach your goals. But now we're getting into Dr. Back's idea that confidence is key to the whole process.
Absolutely. Dr. Back has this great line, confidence is sexy. And before you think he's giving dating advice, he's actually talking about how attractive, genuine self-assurance is.
Okay, I'm listening. What makes confidence so sexy, according to Dr. Back?
He sees confidence as this fundamental part of personal power. It's about really owning who you are, embracing what you're good at, and being bold enough to share your unique gifts. It's about authenticity and not being afraid to stand out.
And it's interesting that Dr. Back is so open about his own journey to confidence. He talks about being called an idiot when he was younger, which is kind of shocking to hear considering everything he's accomplished.
Right. And that's what makes his perspective so interesting. He's not talking from some place of always being brilliant. He's dealt with self-doubt himself and come out stronger, embracing all the different ways he's intelligent.
Speaking of intelligence, he tells that story about taking the Gallup test, which measures different kinds of intelligence.
Oh, yeah. Most people score high in 4 or 5 areas. But Dr. Back was off the charts.
He was, yeah.
8 is considered crazy high. And Dr. Back got 22 different types of intelligence.
22. Okay, so this guy's not just confident. He's incredibly smart. But what I find really interesting is how it challenges what we usually think of as intelligence. It's not just about IQ. It's about all the different ways we can be smart.
Totally. Dr. Beck's story makes us think outside those limited definitions and recognize that there are so many ways to be brilliant. We've all got our own mix of talents, and confidence lets us own those talents and really use them.
It's like that saying, everyone is a genius in their own way, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid.
Exactly. Dr. Beck saying, let's see how that fish can swim. So we've established that confidence is crucial and that we need to embrace our own unique talents. But how do we actually build that confidence, both in ourselves and in our kids?
Right, because let's be real, not all of us are raising future authors. How do we actually apply this in real life?
Well, Dr. Back's approach to parenting is fascinating. He talks about making the choice to model the traits he wants to see in his son. For example, he realized that his own upbringing had focused on being smart and strong, which often led to unnecessary pressure.
So he decided to change his approach.
Exactly. He made a conscious effort to embody qualities like generosity and flexibility.
Yeah.
He created an environment where those qualities were important and shown to be important. And guess what? His son started showing those traits naturally just by being in that environment.
That's pretty amazing. It's like we often try to teach values through lectures and rules. But Dr. Back's showing us that it's the environment we create, how we show up as people, that really shapes the people around us.
And this is where it all comes together. By focusing on developing these good traits in himself, Dr. Back made his own confidence stronger, which in turn created this incredibly supportive and empowering environment for his son. He realized that confidence wasn't just about him. It was about making a place where his son could thrive.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But what about those of us who aren't parents? How does confidence play into things like our careers or relationships?
That's a great question. And it brings us to one of the most interesting concepts in Dr. Back's book, attraction.
Attraction. Okay, now I'm really interested. We're going from confidence to attraction. Tell me more.
Now, before you think we're getting into pickup artist stuff, let me explain. Dr. Back isn't talking about superficial attraction. He believes that real confidence, the kind that shows authenticity and kindness, naturally attracts people and opportunities.
So it's not about tricks or techniques. It's about just being yourself.
Yeah. He says that when you're truly comfortable with who you are, when you're really focused on helping other people, people are just naturally drawn to you. He even calls it momentum for lazy people.
Momentum for lazy people.
Yeah. That sounds pretty interesting. But I have a feeling he's not actually saying it's good to be lazy.
You're right. He's talking about working smarter, not harder. It's about creating a life where things just flow because you're aligned with your purpose and you're not letting self-doubt get in the way. So last time we were on this idea of momentum for lazy people, this idea from Dr. Back that real confidence can actually make life feel easier, less of an uphill battle.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that people with confidence don't work hard. It's more that their energy is used better because they're not constantly fighting self-doubt.
And Dr. Back has all these stories about how he attracted mentors and allies just by being himself. Passionate and really wanting to help others succeed. He says that this genuine care makes him magnetic, that it draws people in.
Totally. And that leads into a big part of Dr. Back's whole philosophy. It might seem kind of unexpected at first. It's about belief.
Belief. I have to admit, when I first saw that in his book, I wasn't sure what he meant. Is he talking about religion? Because, we try to keep things pretty open here, no matter your background.
I get it. But Dr. Back's take on belief is really profound, and it applies to everyone. He's not saying you have to have blind faith or follow some strict set of rules. He's talking about the power of believing in something bigger than yourself.
So that could be a higher power, but it could also be a cause, a mission, even just a value that's really important to you.
Exactly. It's about finding that source of inspiration, the thing that motivates you and gives you a sense of purpose. And here's the really interesting part. He connects belief directly to confidence.
Okay, now you've got me. Tell me more about that connection.
Dr. Back says that it's often easier to believe in something outside of us, like a higher power, a social movement, even a sports team, than it is to believe in our own potential. But when we can tap into that same level of certainty, that unshakable belief in ourselves, that's when we really become confident.
It's like they say, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Belief is the foundation.
Exactly. Belief is what lets confidence grow. It lets us push our boundaries to take on challenges and achieve things we didn't think were possible.
And Dr. Back, being Dr. Back, has this amazing story about a dream he had that really illustrates this point. I don't want to spoil it for everyone, but let's just say it involved a situation where he had to face his own sense of worthiness.
Yes. And what's so powerful about that story is how it shows that our beliefs, whether they come from our spirituality, our values, or even our past experiences, can hold us back or push us forward. Dr. Back's message is to look at our beliefs, challenge the ones that aren't helping us, and build up the ones that let us live our best lives.
So it's not just about understanding emotional intelligence. It's about using that understanding to unlock our full potential. He's given us so much to think about. Active listening, empathy, influence, confidence, attraction, belief. It's a lot, but in a good way.
It really is. But if there's one thing I hope you take away from this, it's that emotional intelligence isn't something you're born with. It's a skill, a way of being, something you can develop and get better at just by practicing and paying attention.
It's about being open to our own emotions, understanding how other people feel, and using that knowledge to build stronger relationships, achieve our goals, and make a difference in the world.
And you never know, maybe you'll even inspire the next great author or entrepreneur.
Wouldn't that be something? As we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Dr. Back and his incredible approach to emotional intelligence, I want to encourage you to think about what really spoke to you today. What one small step can you take to start using these ideas in your own life? What will unlock your power?
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep unlocking your own potential.
Oh, it's over already. I don't know about you, but I did learn something new today. Emotional intelligence. It was not that hard or that complicated. The way Dr. Bax approached it, it was actually surprisingly easy to understand. I can't wait to test these new powers of mine in real life. This is what the Alpha Insider Show is all about getting to real truth, real power, real wisdom. But don't go too far. Next week, we are diving into personal growth. That's even more power. Mark your calendar, Alpha Insider Show, each Monday and Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I am Aaron. Welcome to the Alphas.